They both did get into a fight, but other people was involved in the fight too.
Oh, really?
Wait, hold up. They jumped Big U? Oh, cuz.
That clip right there is exactly what everyone's been talking about. Big U just got jumped inside jail, allegedly by someone connected to Nipsey Hussle. For years, people have linked Big U to Nip's murder, and now it looks like street justice finally caught up with him behind bars. But that's not all. There's also word that Loose Cannon and Brick Baby got into it too. A lot's happening right now, and it might all be connected. Let's break it down. The jail yard showdown. According to multiple sources, Big U, Loose Cannon, and Brick Baby were involved in a full-on brawl inside federal prison. This wasn't some small scuffle. It was a serious fight that caused the entire facility to go on lockdown. Before diving into the details, here's a quick intro for those who might not be familiar with these guys. Eugene Big U Henley, a major figure in Los Angeles, former leader of the Rolling 60s neighborhood Crips, who later became a music executive and manager. He notably managed Nipsey Hussle early in Nip's career. In March 2025, Big U was hit with a 43-count federal indictment, charged with running a mafia-style enterprise, including murder, racketeering, extortion, and fraud. Authorities say he used his charity, Developing Options, as a front for criminal activity. Tmaine Loose Cannon Williams, a 30-year-old producer and rapper from South Central LA who worked closely with Nipsey Hussle, producing hits like Bringing California Back. After Nip's tragic murder in 2019, Loose Cannon shifted from producing to rapping himself. He was also caught up in the same federal RICO case as Big U in March 2025. Jair Brick Baby Mitchell, a rapper and No Jumper podcast host with ties to the Rolling 60s. He grew up around Crenshaw and Slauson, the same area Nipsey was from, and has connections to artists like Kid Ink and Casey Veggies. Unlike the others, Brick Baby was arrested for being a felon in possession of a firearm, but he's locked up alongside them. When news of the jail fight first broke, many assumed these three were fighting each other. But according to a YouTube breakdown of the incident, that's not what happened. In fact, Loose Cannon, Brick Baby, and Big U were actually fighting together against another group. Reports say that despite their personal differences, these three put aside their beefs and stood united against a rival group in the yard, most likely members of the Bloods.
It was more of a other side against them situation.
Oh, man.
It was
Really?
crazy.
This situation is especially noteworthy because of the intense tension between these three individuals, particularly between Loose Cannon and Big U. Previously, Loose Cannon made some explosive claims against Big U, accusing him of having prior knowledge about Nipsey Hussle's murder before it actually happened. In a January 2024 interview on the No Jumper podcast, hosted by Adam22 and Whack 100, Loose Cannon dropped a bombshell. He alleged that Big U had called him and told him that Nipsey had been killed before the murder even took place.
So he FaceTimed me and stuff like that. He was like, Nipsey just got killed. I'm like, sick, so I didn't hear that. So I hang up with him. I called Nipsey and I'm like, Nipsey, what's up? He was like, oh, what's up with it?
Nipsey answered.
Nipsey answered. He answered the phone.
According to Cannon, he reached out to Nipey, who was still alive at that moment, but about 30 minutes later, he received news of Nipey's death.
Minutes later, the homies blowing me up like they just killed Nipsey.
Cannon suggested that the tragedy might have been prevented if Big U had been more forthcoming, implying Big U's possible involvement in Hussle's death. I probably could have stopped it, Cannon reportedly said, reflecting his belief that Big U's alleged prior knowledge could have changed the outcome. Cannon went further, claiming that Big U and Hussle had a strained relationship. He mentioned a physical altercation linked to this tension, which led to Nipey's brother, Black Sam, being arrested for discharging a firearm. According to Cannon, this incident was tied to a diss track Hussle made about Big U, highlighting how their relationship had deteriorated. Big U did not take these accusations lightly. In March 2024, he sent a cease and desist letter to No Jumper, denying the claims and seeking to stop their circulation, adding another complex layer to the story. Adding to the controversy, Cannon's twin brother, Jermaine Williams, appeared on the Streets and Scholars podcast in 2024 and disputed Cannon's version of events. He asserted that the alleged phone call from Big U never happened and accused Cannon of lying about multiple aspects of his life, including his marriage and music credits, casting serious doubt on Cannon's credibility. As you can see, there has been significant bad blood between Loose Cannon and Big U. Yet, when it came down to it, while in jail, they put their differences aside and stood together. One of the most shocking revelations about the fight is that it wasn't a one-time incident. According to a YouTube video, the altercation began in the courtyard, but continued even after the participants were placed in solitary confinement, known in prison as the Hole. This shows just how deep the animosity ran between the two sides.
That's deep right there.
I think the feds set that shit up because they want them to all be friends or kumbaya. I don't know. I told him, I said, you better shut. I don't care if we fought with you or not. I don't.
Whether the fault lies with you or not, it doesn't really matter. What's important is the fight that reportedly involved 7 people on the side of Brick Baby, Loose Cannon, and Big U, clashing with 9 opponents. This wasn't just a minor scuffle or some pushing and shoving. It was a serious physical confrontation that led to a full lockdown of the facility, stopping inmates from accessing the yard. What's especially wild about this is that Brick, Baby, and Loose Cannon were scheduled for bail hearings shortly after the fight. Getting involved in a prison brawl right before a bail hearing is arguably one of the worst moves if you want to convince a judge to let you out. It shows a lack of self-control and paints you as a potential danger to the community. Exactly the argument prosecutors use to keep defendants behind bars. Some sources speculate that injuries from the fight could actually help Brick Baby and Loose Cannon at their bail hearings, possibly framing them as victims rather than instigators. However, no official reports have confirmed any injuries resulting from the altercation. It's also important to note that this jail fight involving Big U, Loose Cannon, Brick Baby, and the other group is separate from another conflict between Loose Cannon and Brick Baby themselves. According to reports, there was a dispute between the two inside their cell or module, where Loose Cannon allegedly confronted Brick Baby. This led to a temporary separation, with Brick Baby moving to a nearby cell. They have reportedly since made peace and are on good terms. This entire situation highlights the complex social dynamics within the federal detention system, especially when it involves high-profile gang members. Despite serious allegations and personal conflicts, Loose Cannon, Big U, and Brick Baby united against a common enemy. This speaks volumes about the power of gang ties and the code many follow behind bars. The rivalry between the Rollin' 60s, Crips and the Blood stretches back decades, originating in the 1970s. It's been fueled by territorial disputes, drug trade competition, and gang pride, resulting in countless violent incidents over the years. In prison, these gang affiliations become even more critical, as inmates rely heavily on their connections for protection and support. Big U, a former leader of the Rollin' 60s, along with Crip affiliates Loose Cannon and Brick Baby, banding together against Bloods is consistent with these long-standing rivalries. What makes this case notable is the personal animosity between these individuals, particularly serious allegations Loose Cannon has made against Big U related to Nipsey Hussle's murder. Yet, despite these deep tensions, they set their differences aside to face rival gang members together. It's a testament to the complicated social codes inside correctional facilities. The Bloods-Crips rivalry has a notorious history of violence, including incidents like the 2015 fight at Otis Bantam Correctional Center in New York, involving rapper Bobby Shmurda. Such conflicts clearly continue to plague prison environments today. This recent prison yard fight could have major consequences for everyone involved. For Big U, already facing serious charges like murder and racketeering, this incident might add to his legal troubles. For Brick Baby and Loose Cannon, whose bail hearings are imminent, the fight could impact their chances of release depending on how the court views the event. The beef between these men runs far deeper than most realize, all connected to the tragic murder of Nipsey Hussle. To fully understand what happened in that jail and why it matters, we have to go back to the streets of Crenshaw and the complicated history between Nipsey, Big U, and their affiliates. The Nipsey Hussle connection. Nipsey Hussle was killed on March 31st, 2019, outside his Marathon clothing store in South Los Angeles. He was shot multiple times by Eric Holder Jr., who was later convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to 60 years to life in prison in February 2023. The official motive established during the trial was that Holder was upset after Nipsey mentioned rumors that Holder was a snitch, one of the gravest accusations in gang culture. Eric Holder Jr., known on the streets as Shitty C and an aspiring rapper called Fly, was, like Nipsey, a member of the Roland 60s neighborhood Crips. Court documents reveal that Holder and Nipsey had a brief conversation in the Marathon Clothing parking lot, during which Nipsey brought up these snitching rumors. Witnesses described the conversation as calm, but Holder took great offense. One major misconception about the murder, which Big U has addressed, concerns the timeline of events. Contrary to the popular belief that Holder left the scene to change clothes and then returned to commit a premeditated murder, Big U claims the sequence unfolded differently.
He never left.
Where he went, they say he went to the car or something.
No, sir. See, and that's where people get it messed up, and that's where it get convoluted. They had work.
According to Big U, after his initial conversation with Nipsey Hussle, Holder didn't leave the vicinity. Instead, he went to a nearby Master Burgers and ordered food, where security cameras caught him displaying erratic behavior. Big U describes Holder as sitting shirtless in the restaurant, clearly showing signs of mental distress. After eating, Holder then proceeded to carry out the shooting, contradicting the story that he left, changed clothes, and came back specifically to kill Nipsey.
He went into Master Burgers and ordered a burger. After they had words, and sat in there on camera, walking around, and you can see the derangeness in his head. He sat in there with his shirt off, then walked out. So he didn't leave like they make you think he had words with Nip.
This detail is important because it addresses whether Nipsey's murder was a deliberate, premeditated attack or simply a personal conflict that spiraled out of control. Big U contends that Holder's actions, engaging in a public argument, lingering nearby, ordering food, and having his girlfriend present, don't match the behavior of someone executing a planned hit.
But also, something else that didn't make sense to me, the hit didn't make sense to me, because who takes his girl on a hit? And who goes, if you're going to go do a hit, if it is a hit, if you're going to go do a hit.
This is where Loose Cannon's explosive allegations come into play. During a January 2024 appearance on the No Jumper podcast, Loose Cannon dropped a bombshell claim. He alleged that Big U called him, stating that Nipsey Hussle had been killed before the murder even happened. According to Cannon, the timeline was chilling. After receiving the call, he immediately phoned Nipsey himself, who answered, alive and well. But just 30 minutes later, Cannon says he learned the devastating truth. Nipsey had been shot and killed. He FaceTimed me, Cannon recalled, stunned by the eerie sequence of events.
FaceTime me. So he FaceTimed me and stuff like that. He was like, Nipsey just got killed. I'm like, 6 I didn't hear that. So I hang up with him. I called Nipsey and I'm like, Nipsey, what's up? He was like, oh, what's up with it?
Nipsey answered.
Nipsey answered. He answered the phone. And I was like, I love you, cuz, or whatever like that.
Did you tell him the call you just got? Or you didn't even mention it?
I didn't mention it. And that's what f***ed me up, because my cousin is Nipsey's baby mama. You get what I'm saying? So it was like, I could have probably stopped it.
When asked why he didn't warn Nipsey about Big U's call, Cannon explained that their relationship was unpredictable. Close one moment, distant the next. At the time, he didn't think much of it. It seemed like just another back and forth between them. But the gravity of the situation hit hard when, just 30 minutes after that conversation, he started receiving calls about Nipsey's tragic death.
3 minutes after you get off the phone with Nip, he get killed.
Yeah, I got it.
So you think he hit you a little too early?
Yep, he hit me a little bit too early.
Cannon elaborated on the tragic shooting, revealing chilling details. According to him, Eric Holder, referred to by some as Shitty, returned to the scene multiple times. He first shot Nipsey, then fled into an alley, only to come back and shoot him again. In a shocking turn, Holder returned a third time to deliver the final shots. Cannon suggested that there was knowledge of the murder before it even took place, hinting at a deeper, more sinister conspiracy behind the killing.
Yep, he hit me a little bit too early, because the homie Shitty double back 3 times. You get what I'm saying? And first he shot him, boom, go into the alley, came back and shot him, boom.
Adding another layer to the unfolding story, Cannon revealed that there had been a physical altercation between Nipsey Hussle and Eric Holder, roughly a week before the fatal shooting. He noted a stark size difference between the two men. Nipsey stood tall at approximately 6'4" or 6'5", while Holder was significantly smaller, around 5'5" or 5'6". According to Cannon, The confrontation stemmed from serious accusations involving police cooperation, specifically rumors of snitching. These allegations reportedly ignited tension and ultimately contributed to the rising friction between them.
So at the end of the day, it's like Nipsey beat him up. Nipsey is what? It's like 6'4", 6'5". Shitty is like 5'5", 5'6". You get what I'm saying? Like frails. Like he get hot.
So there was already some friction there.
Yeah, it was already friction because of like some police telling shit.
Allegations made by Loose Cannon, suggesting that Big U had prior knowledge of Nipsey Hussle's murder, are deeply serious, effectively implying that Big U may have been involved in or aware of a plot to kill Nipsey. However, it's crucial to emphasize that Big U has adamantly denied these claims. He even went as far as sending a cease and desist letter to No Jumper in response, which casts significant doubt on Loose Cannon's accusations. Adding to the controversy, Loose Cannon's own twin brother, Jermaine Williams, appeared on the Streets and Scholars podcast in 2024. During the interview, he outright denied the existence of the alleged phone call from Big U, accusing his brother of fabricating not only this incident, but several parts of his personal narrative. While Loose, Cannon isn't the only one to raise such claims. He isn't alone in pointing fingers at Big U SKG, a former Death Row Records artist whose stage name stands for Suge Knight Girl, has also been outspoken, publicly accusing Big U of orchestrating Nipsey Hussle's murder.
There's talk about Big U that he was involved in Nipsey Hussle's death. I mean, have you seen any proof that would confirm that?
For me being over and growing up in that area, I'm going to tell you guys this. He definitely has something to do with that.
Wow.
And justice for...
In a March 2025 interview with TMZ, following Big U's arrest on RICO charges, rapper SKG didn't hold back. She openly celebrated his incarceration and leveled serious accusations, claiming he played a role in Nipsey Hussle's tragic death. SKG declared that justice for Nipsey was finally on the horizon, and warned that the truth about Big U's alleged involvement would leave the public stunned once the full story came to light.
I know that justice is coming for Nipsey, and I think people are going to be shocked once they see everything that really happened and how he played a part in it.
Rapper and actress SKG has publicly accused Big U of harboring deep jealousy toward Nipsey Hussle, claiming that both she and Nipsey endured similarly negative experiences with him. In a shocking revelation, SKG recounted a traumatic incident, where she says she was lured to Nipsey's store under false pretenses, only to be allegedly assaulted by Big U while pregnant. According to her, Nipsey and his close associate Fats played a role in setting her up for the attack. SKG detailed a long history of hostility between herself and Big U, including an explosive confrontation where he allegedly stormed a business, meeting at her workplace. This altercation, she claims, followed her decision to redirect funding from his organization to a different community project. She paints a picture of Big U as a violent and vindictive figure who used fear to assert control over those around him. Still, it's important to note, like the claims made by Loose Cannon, SKG's allegations remain unproven. Big U has consistently denied any involvement in Nipsey Hussle's murder. Eric Holder has been convicted as the sole perpetrator of the crime, and there is no official evidence or legal proceeding linking Big U to the shooting. Most accusations against him exist only in the realm of podcasts, social media, and public speculation, not court documents. In a 2021 Drink Champs interview, Big U addressed the swirling rumors about his alleged role in Nipsey's death. "We ain't got no beef, period," he said, emphasizing their continued relationship until Nipsey signed with Atlantic Records. Big U pointed to his cameo in the Ain't No Rappin' video and his online promotion of Victory Lap as signs of mutual respect, dismissing the conspiracy theories. "How you going to have a man in jail and still be like, oh, it's a conspiracy?" he asked, criticizing those who fuel unsubstantiated rumors. The relationship between Big U and Nipsey Hussle was, by all accounts, complicated. Early in Nipsey's career, Big U signed him to Unique Music and co-managed him alongside Steve Lobel. Big U's industry connections played a major role in elevating Nipsey's All Money In brand from local buzz to global recognition. When Nipsey secured a major label deal for Victory Lap, he reportedly called Big U to collaborate, suggesting trust and mutual respect. However, tensions did arise. One of the most notable confrontations occurred in 2011 near Crenshaw and Slauson. According to local accounts, Big U and Nipsey engaged in a physical altercation over concerns about the living situation of Nipsey's daughter, Imani, whose mother, Tanisha Foster, is rumored to be related to Big U through marriage. The dispute escalated when Nipsey's brother, Black Sam, allegedly fired a warning shot. LAPD intervened, detaining Big U, Nipsey, and Black Sam, along with 2 others, though all were released the following day. Big U later said the confrontation was rooted in gang and personal politics, not music or money. Despite the tension, they appeared to reconcile by 2016, with Big U reportedly serving as road manager for Victory Lap's promotional tour. Still, critics have raised concerns over Nipsey's long-term contract with Unique Music, a 10-year deal with a reported 50-50 management split between Big U and Steve Lobel. Some have called the arrangement predatory, noting a conflict of interest in Big U managing an artist signed to his own label. However, there's no concrete evidence that Nipsey himself viewed the deal unfavorably. The Jailyard fight and its implications more recently, a jailhouse brawl involving Big U, Loose Cannon, Brick Baby, and rival gang members has shaken both the hip-hop world and the broader public. This violent altercation underscores the enduring influence of gang affiliations, even among celebrities and industry figures. Despite the serious allegations Loose Cannon has made against Big U, the two stood side by side during the Jailyard clash, united under their shared identity as members of the Rollin' 60s neighborhood Crips. This loyalty, even in the face of past betrayals, reveals just how deep gang ties run. The Rollin' 60s Crips, one of LA's most prominent street gangs, has a legacy dating back to 1976 and an estimated membership of over 1,600 as of the early 2000s. Both Nipsey Hussle and Eric Holder Jr. were members, as are Big U, Loose Cannon, and Brick Baby. The jail fight reportedly involved members of the Bloods, reigniting one of the nation's most violent gang rivalries, a conflict responsible for an estimated 20,000 deaths by 2014. In the prison system, such rivalries often escalate, with inmates relying on their gang affiliations for protection. Notably, the violence between these factions reportedly continued even in solitary confinement, raising serious concerns about the security protocols within federal detention centers. Legal consequences and ongoing speculation for Loose Cannon and Brick Baby, both awaiting bail hearings. The fight could have serious legal repercussions. Jail violence can hurt a defendant's case for pretrial release, as it may signal ongoing dangerous behavior. Meanwhile, Big U, already facing the most severe charges, including murder and racketeering, could face further internal disciplinary action. If convicted, this incident may be taken into account during sentencing. Big U's March 2025 arrest video added fuel to the fire. In it, he referenced Loose Cannon, Whack 100, 600, and This Internet Stuff as contributing factors in his legal troubles, implying that the flood of public accusations and online commentary may have played a role in drawing law enforcement's attention. Conclusion. The story of Nipsey Hussle, Big U, and the many figures connected to them is tangled in a web of street politics, music industry drama, and personal grievances. While Eric Holder stands convicted of Nipsey's murder, allegations from people like SKG and Loose Cannon continue to cloud Big U's public image. Whether these claims are rooted in truth or personal vendettas remains uncertain. What is clear, however, is that the intersection of gang life and the entertainment industry continues to shape, and sometimes shatter, the lives of those within it.
When they raided my houses and my property, they was asking about Whack. Whack, Loose Cannon, 600, and this internet stuff. All of y'all fired.
One of the most explosive clashes in this tangled web of street and industry conflicts is the feud between Big U and Whack 100, a well-known music executive with ties to artists like The Game and Blueface. Their long simmering tensions boiled over in March 2025, when Big U publicly accused Whack 100 of cooperating with federal authorities in the RICO case being built against him. In a series of videos released just before surrendering to federal custody, Big U alleged that Whack, sometimes referred to as 600, was acting as an informant for the FBI. He even claimed that Whack was physically present with law enforcement during raids on his property and possessed footage of the events. Whack 100 didn't stay silent. On March 20th, 2025, during a heated clubhouse session, he came out swinging, firmly denying all accusations. Got nothing to do with Wack, he stated, pushing back against claims that he was distributing legal paperwork or making threats toward Big U. Instead, he implied that others might be behind the drama, standing his ground in both the streets and the industry.
They actually describe you as a rival, basically almost somebody that they might be looking to their damn self. So it doesn't look like, but I will say some of what you may have done may have helped with the timing, right? I think you,
What's that?
I think you tipping off Big U. I think that definitely
I did what?
I think you going online and saying that, and the only reason I'm saying this is that if you ever read any federal indictment,
I did what? I tipped him off?
DJ Academics accuses Wack 100 of involvement in Big U's indictment. A deepening rift in LA's hip-hop and street politics, DJ Academics recently stirred controversy by accusing Wack 100 of playing a role in Big U's indictment, suggesting Wack may have tipped off law enforcement or supplied information that led to Big U's legal troubles. Wack 100, however, firmly denied the allegations. The exchange sheds light on a tangled web of accusations and counterclaims, engulfing some of LA's most influential street and industry figures. The feud between Wack 100 and Big U is far from new. Their conflict dates back to 2019, in the aftermath of Nipsey Hussle's murder. At the time, Wack 100 made highly controversial remarks, seemingly praising Eric Holder, the man convicted of killing Nipsey. Wack argued that under gang codes, Holder's actions were a reaction to perceived disrespect, sparking outrage among Nipsey's supporters. Big U, a close associate of Nipsey Hussle and a key figure in community and gang intervention work, reportedly confronted Wack 100 directly over the statements. That confrontation planted the seeds of a rift that only grew wider. By 2022, Wack 100 publicly expressed regret over the falling out. In an interview, he reflected, "When I look at the whole layout, there's probably only one person out of everything you've been seeing going on that I wish it could have been different with. And that's Big U. Because I love his family, and no matter what me and him going through, I know his family." But any hopes of reconciliation were quickly shut down. Big U responded with a fiery Instagram post writing, "I don't accept no apology from no one that disrespects my name, disrespects my family, and calls me out my name." This ongoing conflict between Wack 100 and Big U highlights a deeper, more dangerous dimension of LA's hip-hop scene, where music industry success, street loyalty, and gang politics collide. These personal feuds often reflect larger cultural and territorial battles, making them more than just entertainment headlines. The backdrop to this drama is the legacy of Nipsey Hussle himself. Known not just for his music, but for his dedication to uplifting his community, Nipsey worked tirelessly to reduce gang violence through economic empowerment. His Marathon clothing store employed formerly incarcerated individuals, and his STEM center, Vector 90, aimed to bridge the tech divide for Black and brown youth in South LA. His vision was about transformation, turning Crenshaw from a symbol of struggle into a beacon of Black ownership and pride. Even after his death, his family continues this mission through the Neighborhood Nip Foundation and the Marathon Collective, maintaining his blueprint for community revitalization. But the tensions that Nipsey once tried to calm have not disappeared. The recent jail fight involving Big U, Loose Cannon, Brick Baby, and their rivals adds another explosive chapter to this saga, one marked by loyalty, betrayal, and the lingering power of gang affiliations. Now, several critical questions hang in the balance. Will the jail altercation affect Brick Baby and Loose Cannon's bail chances? Judges often weigh an inmate's behavior behind bars when determining release, and gang-related violence may suggest they pose an ongoing threat to public safety. Could this incident impact Big U's ongoing RICO case? Additional disciplinary issues in jail could strengthen prosecutors' arguments that Big U remains deeply embedded in gang activity, even from behind bars. Will new evidence surface in the investigation surrounding Nipsey Hussle's murder? Loose Cannon and rapper SKG have made bold claims about Big U's alleged involvement, but these accusations remain legally unsubstantiated. The RICO proceedings may unearth more information, either supporting or debunking those claims. What role will Wack 100 play as this drama unfolds? Given his outspoken feuds and connections to other key figures, Wack might remain a central character in the narrative, whether by choice or by circumstance. What makes this situation even more compelling is how it blurs the line between street legend and celebrity. These are not anonymous gang members brawling in a prison yard. They are recording artists, podcasters, and social media influencers. They bring with them fan bases, media attention, and business interests that amplify every move. As these legal battles progress, they will continue to shape not just the futures of Big U, Loose Cannon, and Brick Baby, but the broader conversation around Nipsey Hussle's legacy, the impact of gang culture, and the challenges of redemption and reform in South Los Angeles.